In the many worlds theory of quantum physics, there's many worlds, many different versions of planet Earth. And theoretically, every time you make a decision, you create two versions. One, you chose this, and one, you chose the other in a binary system. So, but for simplifying, we would say 40 worlds, or how many worlds each human goes through. Through and through and through, we would say. And your job going through those 40 worlds is 40 versions of Groundhog Day. You've got to be perfect in every one of those 40 worlds. And then when you're perfect in every one of those 40 worlds, well, you just be perfect the way you're supposed to be and hold space in each one of those 40 worlds. And holding space is, well, you need to be at 540 or higher on the scale of human consciousness, and staying at that, well, that's what you have to do. Why 40 and what goes on in the 40 worlds? Mostly we go through them because we just have got to go and freshen up us for other people. And one way you can jump worlds, remember the TV show Sliders, and there's another one called Quantum Leap. That's what we're talking about. And one way you can do it is if you've got a smartphone or a tablet, and if you have both, well, just pop the battery out and reboot it that way, or use the power off button and restart it that way, because that will trigger you moving from one world to another of your 40 worlds. Well, and again, it's most likely going to be because you feel stale, or you feel like I'm mostly stale, or the energy doesn't feel good. You just had an altercation with somebody, and so what you can do is just reboot your phone a few times, or if you have one of the phones where you can take the battery out, take the battery out, and you could leave it out. Like if you're having a lot of trouble, then leave the battery out all day. And, maybe only go and check your messages once every 2 weeks if it gets really bad. Don't be afraid to do that. In the past, I have done that, where I left the battery out of the phone for long periods of time, and that's all I did. Because it was like too much horrible was coming through the phone. So, you're not required to hold on to your phone and keep it going if it's becoming a source of too much trouble. And then what? Well, that's basically what you do. Why for that was just what we got just now, is how many worlds you go through. And that's basically what you need to know. Other ways that you can reboot yourself. It happens spontaneously. It used to happen. I used to go to karaoke a lot, and it would be a dead spot in the microphone. It would just be a spot where it seemed like the microphone would go dead for a second, and you would notice it. And then other times you would just notice it spontaneously because, I don't know, like I used to go to the Dragon's Den, and the regular table that I sat at, all of a sudden it didn't look the same because it had some graffiti on it, and all of a sudden, well, one night I went there, and after so long I'd been in the same table, it was not the same table. And then I just was like curious and went around looking, and that table wasn't there. So that's my evidence that things are just different in the different 40 worlds. And that's, sometimes you see these things called Mandela effect or matrix glitches, or just, I don't know, odd things. And that's the explanation for one reality box from a scientific background, and Hollywood did play with it with those two TV shows. Well, it's just because we get stuck in the box that things have got to be so linear and that we can't jump timelines and that it's impossible to gain or lose days or, you know, time slips and things, because you have to get used to these ideas so that if you've heard of them, then if they do happen to you, then you'll know, well, they are normal for people that are honest about paranormal events.